Good morning, Marjorie. Where are you? In the States, I imagine. I will have today a very special tour because I have an assistant with me, and I will give to him the gimbal to film me. So you will see me all the time during of this tour. I'm in Cluj Napoca, and he will transmit me all your questions to be able to answer. I will give it to him right now. I will stay here. I'm Nicu. So for the ones which doesn't follow me till today, I will try to give you all the information before to begin this tour. We are in Cluj Napoca, which is one of the oldest cities in Romania, and also is the largest university center from here. They have about 40,000 students, which are learning in English, in German, in Hungarian, and obviously in Romanian. The university is called Babes-Bolyai, after the name of Victor Babes, a Romanian scientist, and János Bolyai, a Hungarian man of culture as well. And here we are in the theater square of Cluj Napoca, or the theater of the museum, because the Museum of Transylvania it's also here. And I will try to tell you a little bit the story of Cluj Napoca. It was considered by many people the unofficial capital of Transylvania, because for many years was the capital, the administrative capital of the province. And as you know, Transylvania, it was a Romanian territory which was inhabited by the Romanians for many years. The Romanians are a Latin nation which was born from the mixture between the Roman colonists which came in Dacia, which was the name of Romania during the antiquity, and the Roman Empire conquered Dacia after two bloody wars in 101, 102, the first one, and 105, 106, the second one, and they conquered the western side of the actual Romania from the north to south, and they stayed here for about 164 years. After this moment, in 271 after Christ, under the rule of the Emperor Aurelianus, they pulled back into the south of the Danube, because the fact that was starting in Europe the period of migrations, actually populations coming from the east, from Asia, the Avars, the Longobards, the Slavs, the Hungarians, the Huns, the the Vandals, all those guys was passing by here. And for the Roman army, it was very difficult to defend a territory which was full of hills, mountains, valleys, full of forests. So for this reason, they decided to put between them and the Romans a natural frontier, the Danube. So for this reason, they pulled back there, and they left behind a population formed mostly from shepherds and agricultures, Romanians, obviously. Actually, I will call them Dacian Romans, because it was a population which wasn't Dacian, Roman, and not Romanian yet. It was a mixture in between. The Romanian nation and the Romanian language will be born here between the 3rd and the 5th century after Christ, when the Romanians will develop their language, which is a new Latin language actually. The roots are coming from Latin. For about 800 years, we doesn't have any kind of written information about the Romanians, because it was very difficult for them to create and to maintain a documentary archive, living onto the top of the mountains, because they couldn't resist in front of those warriors, migrators, barbarians. So they stayed up there. But they left behind a lot of traces, especially names of rivers, names of places, a lot of remains, fragments of houses, fortresses, these kind of things, cemeteries, a lot of treasures buried into the ground. So around of the year 1000, when the Hungarians were settled into the Pannonic fields where they are still living, they discovered here in Transylvania, a very rich forest, a very rich territory. So they're starting to talk in their documents, which were written in Latin, which was the main language of the Hungarians then, the official language, because the Hungarians were part of the Roman Catholic Church, and the Latin language was the official language of the Roman Catholic Church, as the Slavic language was the official language of the Greek Orthodox Church. So that's why in their documents they're starting to wrote about Terra Transilva, which it means the country beyond the forest, and from Transilva they will create later the name of Transylvania. So this is the explanation of the actual name of the province. And here in Cluj Napoca, it's one of the oldest cities from Romania, because the Romans developed here a castrum, a fortress called Napoca. And the name of Cluj in German, or even the name of Cluj in Romanian, came from close or from Cluj, which was a Roman term for closed region, because all this place where is Cluj now, it's surrounded by hills, so closed by hills. So that's why we have Klausenburg in German, the name of Cluj Napoca, Cluj in Romanian, and the Hungarians, which after the moment when they discovered Transylvania, they decided to conquer it from the Romanians, which they did in about 100 years. So around of the 1200, in the 11th century, they conquered Transylvania. And of course, they brought in here a lot of colonists, Hungarians, to defend the frontiers, because the Romanians, which were the masters of the land and the majority of population, they obviously they didn't want them here, but they want them out. So they didn't want to cooperate with them. And on the other side, the Romanians, being mostly shepherds and agricultures, they wasn't very good merchandisers, traders, and artisans. So that's why another population brought in here by the Hungarians were the Germans, which were very good artisans and very good merchandisers. So that's why they settled the Germans into the southeast of Transylvania, where are now the counties of Sibiu, of Cluj, of Brașov, and Mureș. And here in Cluj Napoca, which was populated mostly by the Hungarians, they named the city with the word Kolozsvár. Var, it means fortified place, and Kolozsvár have the meaning of fortress or fortified city, if you want it like this. So they developed here a very beautiful city, which starting with the 17th century, with the Baroque time, it was starting to be very similar with Budapest, which was the center of the political center of the Hungarians. So you will see many Baroque buildings in here. It's like a small Budapest in miniature. So if you doesn't travel to Budapest, you can come here, because it's pretty much the same architecture. Here in the theater place, I have behind me one of the oldest churches from Cluj Napoca, is the Franciscan Church. But till to tell you about that one, I will start with this monument, which is here close to me. It's an obelisk made built in 1831 into the memory, if you want, as a remember of a visit of the Emperor Francis I of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and his wife Carolina Alberta. That's why this obelisk behind me, it's mostly called the Carolina obelisk. Here on this side, you can see the coat of arms of Cluj Napoca from those times. It's a fortress with 3 towers of that fortification, and a little bit up also you can see 4 eagles, which are the symbol of the royalty of the kings, of the emperors. And usually when you will see this sign with an eagle with 2 heads, a beheaded eagle, an eagle with 2 heads, it's the symbol of the emperor of the emperors, or the kings of the kings, which actually you will see it mostly into the Byzantine Empire. On Constantinople, the emperors from there have it like this. Here it's another carving representing the moment when the emperor and his wife are visiting the local hospital of Cluj Napoca. They are represented here, surrounded by the children, by the people from Cluj Napoca. You can see a woman kneeling in front of the queen, kissing her hand. On this other side, you will see an inscription in Latin language, which speak about the Emperor of Austria, Francis I, also the Emperor of Hungary and Bohemia, Principe of Transylvania, and his wife Carolina Augusta, which was visiting Cluj Napoca in 1817. On the other side, and on the left side of on the western side of the monument, you can see another carving which represents the moment when the couple is entering in Cluj Napoca. On the main gate, you can see the carriage pulled by 6 horses there into the carriage, and the people, the knights, all the noblemen from the city with flags are welcoming there here in Cluj Napoca. Also in this region of the city, in this part of the city, and I will go now slowly to the Franciscan monastery. It's a construction which previously was built around 1290. It was a very small chapel built in here, and that one was built on some ruins of another church which was destroyed in 1241 by the invasion of the Mongols, which were led by the sons of Genghis Khan, one of them Ödögai Khan, which decided to attack and conquer Europe. Of course, being a very strong army, as you know, they was riding horses, small horses, very fast ones, having arrows and bows, attacking, destroying. And because in those times the majority of the fortifications were built mostly on the ground, straight on the ground, fortified with wooden walls and dirt and stones, was very easy to be conquered. That's why after this moment, when the Mongols destroyed all the Europe, all Russia, or old Russia, they arrived to the gates of Budapest, of Buda actually, trying to conquer Hungary. They fortunately do not fight against the Hungarians because their great Khan died, so they have to go back to Karakorum in Mongolia to choose another one. So they renounced to the battle. So because of this reason, when they go back to Mongolia, a part of the Mongol army, the tribes of the Tartars, remain in Crimea, where they lived till today for many years. And from Crimea, they were organized into the Golden Horde, which was a group of soldiers which attacked all the time the Romanian countries, Wallachia, Moldova, and Transylvania during the medieval times, creating a lot of troubles to us. And because I mentioned the name of Wallachia, it's actually the south of Romania from today. And Wallachia, it means the country of a nation which speaks the Latin language, because the word Wallach, it comes from an old German word, Wallen, which was used by the Germans to nominate all the tribes which was speaking the Latin language. So in the moment when the Slavs attacked the Germans and lost the battle, they were enslaved by the Germans, and from here, from the enslaved Slavs, came the name of slave into the international languages. So when the Slavs met us here in Romania and live with us for about 100 years, till the moment when they melt in our mass of population, they called us Valakhs or Wallachians, and our country Wallachia. For this reason, because the Occidentals mostly called us like this, when in 1859 was founded the modern Romania from the Union of Moldova, which actually includes the actual Republic of Moldova as you know it, because Republic of Moldova was a Romanian territory occupied in 1812 by the Russians, our friends, and a little bit later also by the Russians in 1945. They were united with Wallachia, and they formed the modern Romania. And when appeared the name of Romania, many people said, "Oh, a new nation." No, it's not a new nation. It's actually the old nation of the Valakhs, that you know it like this. It's actually, if you want, the same situation with Hungary from today. Now you call them Hungarians, they call themselves Magyars. You call themselves, you call their country Hungary, they call it Magyarország. Or with the Germans, you said Deutschland, they said Deutschland, we say Germany, we said Germans, they said Deutsch. It's exactly the same situation with us. So this building behind me was built in after the Mongol invasion from 1241 in 1290, and was initially a church owned by the Dominican monks. They create here a monastery where they lived for a while till 1530, when the reform of Martin Luther, which actually changed and create a new religion in Europe, the Protestant religion, and arrived here in Transylvania because of a German humanist from Brașov, my home city, Johannes Fontelius, which wrote the book of the Reform, and actually he switched the reform of the majority of the Germans from Catholic to Protestant. And of course, not all the Germans and the Hungarians embraced the new religion. Let's say like 10% from a village remained Roman Catholics, but they continued to live together with their neighbors, which now were Protestant, Evangelic, Lutheran, Calvinists, Unitarians a little bit later, but they live together. Thing which makes the rector of the university from Cluj Napoca, it's also the president of the Romanian Academy, Professor Ioan Pop. He said that he considered Transylvania Europe in miniature, because here in Transylvania you will find the most important language families of Europe: the Latins, we Romanians, the Germans, and the Finno-Ugrics, the Hungarians. The second reason is the fact that here in Transylvania you will find the most important religions of Europe: the Greek Orthodox, Romanians, the Roman Catholics, Germans and Hungarians, and as well the Protestants, German and Hungarians too. And the last reason to call Transylvania Europe in miniature is the fact that here in Transylvania we have the most important architectural styles of Europe, which are Romanic, Gothic, and Barocco, all together in the same region. And one of the most important things is the fact that we here are an example of good living between all those nations, because after the reform of Martin Luther, we doesn't have religious war in here. So in Brașov, for example, in my home city, it's a street of 1 kilometer, and in 1 kilometer you can find a German church, a Romanian church, and a Hungarian church, all living together in the same area, without any kind of troubles in between. So in this church, after the reform of Martin Luther, it was used by the Queen Isabella of Hungary around of 1600 to live in this place, like her own palace, no? And a little bit later, when she left from here, and the church came back to the Catholic Church, the Jesuits also made here a monastery, and they continue to live into this church. Also, the Jesuits and the Dominicans built this western side of the church into the Baroque style, as you can see, because it was built after 1600, and it's one of the most important and one of the oldest buildings from Cluj Napoca. From here, we'll go together to the Union Square of Cluj, which is the largest square from Cluj Napoca. And I will tell you, I will try to enter into the cathedral of Archangel Michael from there. And I will end the tour with presenting you the statue of King Matthias of Hungary, which is one of the most important kings of Hungary from the 15th century and the beginning of the 16th century, which was born here in Cluj. And now on the way to the Union Square, I will show you the house where this king was born in here, because the house is still in Cluj. And you will see that the city, it's very similar with many European cities, because of the constructions, because of the life which is in here, being a university city. As you can imagine, are many students. The people are very open to the West, and not only the people from here, because in Romania, we are, being a Latin nation, we were all the time with our eyes to the West, where are our Latin brothers, the Spanish, the French, the Italians. So for this reason, even that we are Greek Orthodox in majority, and we were depending by the bishopric, no, from Constantinople. And we are actually in here, as we used to say with pride, we are an island of Latinity into a sea of Slavs, because the Bulgarians, the Serbs, the Ukrainians, the Russians are Slavs. The Hungarians and Firo-Ugrics, but we are the single Latin nation from here. And also, as a curiosity, I will tell you that we are the single Latin nation, which is Greek Orthodox, and the Slavs, you know, are all of them Greek Orthodox, with a small exception, the Polish, which are Catholics, because they are much closer to the West than the other Slavs. So that's why they are like this. And of course, Cluj Napoca, being here in the northwest of Transylvania and being very close to Hungary, and along of the commercial route to Vienna, also it was a very important commercial center. And as any other commercial center, as any other medieval city, it had a lot of guilds. And talking about the guilds as associations of artisans, I will tell you that those guilds were very strong associations of them. They also were dictating the prices into the market of goods. So I have to pay attention where I'm going. So to be a member of the guild, first of all, you have to be a boy. The women weren't allowed, not because they were misogynists or something like this. I will tell you it's a very strong reason. At the age of 16, even 14 years old sometimes, the boys were admitted as apprentices into the guild. So they were working as apprentices for about 2 years. So around 16, 17 years old, they were finishing this period of time. So they have to give an exam. And after they were sustaining this exam, if they pass it, they had the right to leave the city and go to work for about 2 years into another places from the world, not to practice their job as shoemakers, as blacksmith, as goldsmith, as weavers, a lot of jobs. So after 2 years, they were coming back in their origin city, and they were sustaining another exam. They were paying an amount of money to the guild, no, for the exam. And after this moment, they becoming member of the guild with the condition to get married with one of the daughters of the members of the guild, to keep the entire business in their family. So for this reason, they have to be compulsory boy, because a girl couldn't marry with another girl in those times. Now it's possible in some parts of the world, but then it was impossible to do this. So that's why they have to be boys. Here we are in front of the house of King Matthias. As I told you, one of the most important kings of the Hungarians. He is born here in Cluj Napoca, and also we as the Romanians, we are very proud to tell you that he was actually half Romanian, because his father, Ianco Funedoara, which was a Romanian, a genuine Romanian, but he was the governor of Transylvania, and he was assimilated to the Hungarian nobility under the name of Hunyadi János, and he is one of the heroes of the Christianity, because in 1456 he sieged Belgrade, which was occupied by the Turks, by the Ottomans, and they liberated the city from this dominance of the Ottomans. Unfortunately, he died a couple of days after that by plague into the city called Zemun near Belgrade. And previously, like 10 years before, in 1444, he led the crusade from Varna, which was one of the last crusades developed against the Ottomans into the Ottoman Empire. No, my stamp. So that's why he's one of the heroes of the Christians, and we are very proud that he was a Romanian. He was assimilated, I said, by the Hungarian nobility for the reason that starting with the 14th century, so 200 years, 150 years after the occupation of the after the occupation of Transylvania by the Hungarians, the Romanians are losing all their rights military, political, economical rights. So they doesn't have the right to live into the cities made by the Germans or by the Hungarians, and also they doesn't have the right to occupy functions into the administration of their cities. No, so that's why to have this right, you have to be assimilated to become a Hungarian actually, which is what Janko Hunedoara, Hunia János done. So that's why I said he was assimilated to them. So his son, it was born here in Cluj Napoca, Matthias. He had another two brothers, but he became the king of Hungary, and because of the fact that he cared a lot, not only about the poor people from his kingdom, but especially by the Romanians from his kingdom, which having not kind of rights, any kind of rights, and living in a very poor life. He was called by his enemies, the Hungarian king was called by many of his enemies, like the king of the Valakhs, which was a pejorative term, if you want, addressed to him. So this is his house where he was born. Unfortunately, we could not enter inside because the people from Cluj Napoca settled inside the office of the university of the faculty of design from here. That actually is not a museum. Unfortunately, I hope into the future they will do something in this matter. And King Matthias and the family Corvin, they had a very interesting coat of arms. It's a coat of arms which have a crow, which stays on a branch of a tree, having in the beak a ring. And the story says that when the father of Matthias Corvin, of Matthias Rex, was Iancu Voicu, was traveling to Hunedoara, because what's the story? The father of Iancu Hunedoara, of Hunia János, being a Romanian prince, Voicu, he received from the king Sigismund of Luxembourg of Hungary, another important king of Hungary, which organized one of the crusades against the Ottomans in 1396 at Nicopolis in Bulgaria. He received the domain and the castle of Hunedoara from Romania, which is the largest medieval castle from Transylvania and from Romania, and where my travel agency, Visit Transylvania Travel, organized since 12 years ago huge Halloween parties. You can find it on YouTube if you want to look it. So during of this travel, Janko Hunedoara, the future Hunia János, was a child of about 10 years old, and they stopped into a forest to take the lunch, and after the lunch, they take a nap. And the father of Hunia János, of Janko Hunedoara, had a ring from Sigismund of Luxembourg as a proof that he is the new master of the domain and of the castle of Hunedoara. Without that ring, he couldn't be recognized as the new master. And that ring was staying on the pillow, on the grass, shining into the sun, and was attracted that crow, which stolen it, and fly on a branch of a tree. The whole family future was in danger because his parents were asleep. The child Janko Hunedoara, the future Hunia János, took the arrow, the bow, killed the raven, and recovered the ring. And in this way, the name of the family became Corvin, from Corvus in Latin, which it means crow, no? And raven, actually. And they put on the coat of arms of the family this raven with the ring in its beak as a remember of that happening, which actually marked a lot their destiny as a future important family in the history, even of Europe. And I said even of Europe because in the first years of the conquest of the Ottomans here into the Balkans, they conquered the Bulgarians, they conquered the Serbians. They never conquered the Romanians because they understand that it's better to exploitate the Romanians, taking from them a lot of goods like honey, like sheep, like these kind of things, food, never helped in the armies. And in this way, for about 200 years, between 1389, when they conquered the Serbs after the battle from Kosovo Polje in Kosovo, and till 1526, when the Hungarian army were defeated into the battle from Mohacs by the Ottomans, the Hungarian king was unfortunately killed, and the Sultan transformed the half of Hungary into a region occupied by the Ottomans. Our rulers, together with the Hungarians, kept the door of Europe closed in front of the Ottomans. When these Ottomans were very close to open this door in 1683 on the second siege of Vienna, but the Viennese and the Europeans escaped by the conquest of the Turks, being held by the King Sobieski of Poland, which interfered and pushed the Turks back. I've told you about this closed door in front of the Turks, which was kept closed by many Romanian rulers. One of them, you know it very well, is Dracula, Vlad the Impaler. The second one is his grandfather, Mircea the Elder, a very important ruler, which also participated together with King Sigismund of Luxembourg of Hungary to the crusade from Nicopolis. And till today, he is the single Christian prince which defeated an Ottoman army led by the Sultan on the battlefield. Of course, were many Christian princes which defeat the Ottomans, but not with the Sultan on the battlefield. This is a very important detail, because the presence of the Sultan on the battlefield during a battle was something extremely important and encouraging for his troops. So that's why this Mircea defeated in Wallachia, north of Bucharest, in 1394, May 19th. This huge army of the Ottoman Sultan Bayezid, the lightning is the translation, Bayezid Yildirim. And imagine that it was a battle between 100,000 Turks, 40,000 Romanians. Obviously, this was the proportions during of those times in here. If in the Occidental Europe, the battles were between 5,000 to 4,000 people maximum, here we speak numbers which are 20 ways larger. You can see here the cathedral of Archangel St. Michael from Cluj Napoca, yes, built by the people from Cluj Napoca in the moment when the king of Hungary give them the privilege to have their own priest, to choose their own priest, their own bishop, and also to develop a market here in Cluj Napoca. It was a very important privilege to collect the taxes from commerce, you as a city, not going to the king. I will try to cross the street with you now because it's green. Probably the gimbal will shake a little bit. And we'll go to the Union Square. And I will try to enter into the church to show you a little bit how it is inside, because it's one of the most beautiful churches from Cluj Napoca. It's a Gothic church, as you can see. The tower, the northern tower was built, is the last one built, somewhere into the 16th century. And it was recently renovated. It's one of the few churches from Romania which still have stained glass windows, very beautiful painted and very colorful in the same time. And one of the most important pieces from here is the pulpit, which was built in the 17th century by a Hungarian sculptor, which realized a very beautiful piece of art. Here is the statue of one of the bishops of the Hungarian community from Cluj Napoca, Marton Aron. He was a very strong defender of the rights of the Hungarians from Transylvania during the communist regime. For this reason, he was imprisoned in one of the prisons, in one of the camps of the communists. So that's why he is very honored today by the Hungarian community and even by the Romanian community from some points of view. At the entrance into the church, you will see above the door the image of Archangel Michael, which is carved in stone. together with the coat of arms of Hungary and of the king Matthias. I will try to enter with you in. I will try to enter with you into the church. I hope that they will let us, and I hope it's not religious service inside. Even that. Now I think we have bad luck here because they have religious service, so I will not enter to. I will not enter to disturb them. But you will. You can look inside. The religious service it's kept in Hungarian because it belongs to the Hungarian community from here, and you can see the pulpit very well from here. It's the pulpit of the church. It's very beautiful, carved in wood. Of course, through this glass, you can see it. You can see it very, very well. Maybe next time I will be able to show you much more. You can see the ceiling, which is it's a Gothic one. It's a nave church, which was built like this. The initiative of the Dominican monks, because the Dominican monks consider that the whole community have to stay together inside of the church at the religious service, and if a church had a transept, like where the church is from, for example, the best example of a church with a transept is the Notre Dame from Paris, which have that shape of cross with two lateral parts, where are also altars on the Catholic Church. So because of this reason, the Dominican decided to build a nave church, a single hall where all people to stay together there. I am closing to I'm very close to the end of this tour, but I will end it into the Union Square, where is the statue of King Matthias, one of the most important kings of Hungary, as I told you, born in here, and it's a statue which have a very interesting story. Till there in front of us, you can see one of the palaces of Cluj Napoca, where now it's hosting the library of the university from Cluj Napoca, one of the most largest and beautiful from Romania. And also you can see here to the right side, to my left now, it's that building with the tower. It's a white building, which it's a copy after the hotel and restaurant New York from Budapest. It's a beautiful neoclassic building, recently also renovated by the people from Cluj Napoca, and it's one of the proofs that the civilization, the Occidental civilization, here in the heart of Romania, in the heart of Transylvania, was nothing less than the one from the Western Europe. On this section of the square are a lot of other palaces of the nobles from Cluj Napoca, belonging to the rich people from here, living obviously into the downtown, and of course one of the houses belonging to the governors of Transylvania. I will show you a little bit one of the palaces, and if you look here behind me, you will see two buildings with two roofs, two domes, gray domes, which are placed together one in front of the other. For this reason, it's called the street in the mirror, because now from here you can see it better. The architecture of the building from the left, it's reflecting into the architecture of the building from across the street. So that's why it's called the street in mirror, because the buildings are facing one to the other. Also, you can see another monument. It's like an obelisk in front of me, with a bell on the top. It's built in the memory of a memorandum made by the Romanians from Transylvania to the emperor from Vienna, militating for their rights, to be recognized their rights here in Transylvania. Of course, the emperor from Vienna doesn't respond positive to their memorandum. They were sent to prison for a long time. But in the memory of that act of courage, for the rights of the Romanians from here, the people from Cluj built that monument there. It was another memorandum in 1670 called Supplex Libellus Valahorum, which it means the document for the liberties of the Romanians from Transylvania, also sent it to the emperor from Budapest, without success, obviously. Romanians fought all the time for their rights here in Transylvania after the conquest, but only in 1918, after the Great War, they were finally united with their brothers from Romania, after about 800 years of fight. Under this square pavement lies the entire Roman city of the ancient Napoca. A couple of fragments of streets I will show you at the end of this transmission are behind me, right there where the people are sitting on the benches. But till there, I want to present you this beautiful statue of King Matthias of Hungary from Cluj Napoca. It's a statue which was built in 1902 by a Hungarian sculptor, Fadrus János is his name, and he was I will answer you to the questions about the economical situation of Romania in this moment, but I want first to end with this one. So the statue, it represents the King Matthias on the horse, sitting on one of the towers of the fortress of Cluj. You can see the tower under him with the name of Matthias Rex presented over there. Starting with this side of the sculpture, you can see 4 warriors. The first one with the beard and the helmet in his right hand is Blasiu Magyar, the chief of the Black Mercenaries, the Black Army, the army of mercenaries of King Matthias of Hungary. The second one is Pavel. It's a leader of the Romanians which decided to follow the Hungarian king from Banat, another region of Romania, part of the Hungarian kingdom in that moment. So Pavel Gnazdu is the second one. On the other side, you can see the vice king of Hungary with a raised flag in his right hand, and near him, also looking to the king, it's the governor of Transylvania from that time. As you can see, all of them have in their hands flags of the defeated nations bowed in front of the king. Here it's a small mistake which was done by the Hungarian architect, maybe a subjective mistake if you want. King Matthias was in fight, in some debate in a moment, with the Prince of Moldova, which it means Republic of Moldova plus the half of medieval state which is now in Romania, called Stephen the Great. And this Stephen the Great, or Ștefan cel Mare in Romanian, it's one of the most important rulers of our nation because he ruled for about 47 years, which was a performance into the 15th century to stay 47 years on the throne. And he defeated twice Mohammed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, with his huge army of 100,000 people coming here in Moldova to conquer him. So, because King Matthias wasn't very happy with the fact that because King Matthias wasn't agree with the fact that Moldova of Stephen the Great becoming pretty independent, he tried to enter in this country to eliminate Stephen the Great from the throne and take the control over the country. So for this reason, in 1462, in December, he crossed the Oriental Carpathians, which are surrounded the Transylvania like the walls, a fortress. So he crossed the Oriental Carpathians in Moldova, attacking Stephen the Great. And in the night of 16 of December, King Matthias was settled into the city of Baia, where he was attacked by the army of Stephen the Great. He was defeated, the Hungarian king. Maybe you will believe that I'm subjective here, being Romanian. I'm not saying this one, but we have a lot of chronicles from that moment. For example, Dlugos, it's a Polish chronicle from that time, which certified the fact that the Hungarian king was defeated. Also, we have another chronicles from the Turkish Ottoman Empire, chronicles also from Hungary, which are saying the same thing. So, for this reason, the Hungarian king was defeated. Here, one of the flags I will approach with you a little bit, which are presented to be of the defeated nations, is the flag of Moldova of Stephen the Great. If you are zooming a little bit, you will see the bull head. It's a bull head on a side depicted on that flag, which is the flag of Moldova. So to correct a little bit this, to correct this mistake of Father Janusz, the most important Romanian historian, Nicolae Iorga, placed in 1940 a plate on this statue, and on that plate he says like this, referring to King Matthias: a winner in his wars, defeated only at Baia by his own nation, because he was half Romanian, as I told you, when he tried to defeat the undefeatable Moldova. So that's why that plate was placed, and it still lies in front of the statue, just to correct this mistake of King Matthias, which do not make less his importance into the history of the continent. Before to end, I will answer to the question about the economical situation of Romania in this moment. Romania in this moment, economically, doesn't stay as good as it was in 1989 during the Communist Revolution, when we have an industry which was capable to produce anything from a shoe to a tank. So even today, because we destroyed that industry, by stupidity if you want, even today we can live pretty well from tourism, from agriculture, because the Romanian agriculture is larger enough to be the second, sometimes even the first from the European Union in sunflower production, in cereal production. We still have our oil, our natural gas, which are about 80% from what we need. So our dependence to the Russian gas is basically zero. That's why we don't care too much about our friends from the east. So also we produce a lot of organic food. Many of the honey that you can buy it in the west, it came from Romania. It's produced by our bees in here. So economically we stayed pretty good. Plus we have the luck to be part of the European Union, which help us with a lot of money. I was asked about the Hungarian name of Cluj Napoca, and I told it already. It's Kolozsvár, and it means in translation the castle or the fortified place, if you want, something like this. So I will go to end this tour near the place where we still have some of the relics, fragments of the Roman city of Cluj Napoca, presented to the people, because I remind you, under this square exists all the Roman city of Cluj Napoca. So I understand I have another question. If the gimbal and the connection wasn't too stable sometimes I apologize for this. I started to try something new in today, and probably in the future I will buy a new gimbal. And here I will try to show you through this window a fragment of the old city, the Roman relics of the city of Cluj Napoca. Cuba also made the same mistake under Fidel. Yes, it's true. Okay, Graziella. Graziella, my old friend. Okay. What I want to show you here for the last time is the Banfi Palace, which is the one that I'm zooming right now. One of the most important governors of Transylvania was the Banfi family. So now their palace, their home, became the art museum from Cluj Napoca. I hope this way of transmission was something new for you. I hope that you like it. Probably I will repeat it. Tomorrow I will try to do a live from the salt mine from Turda, one of the most beautiful in Romania. And till tomorrow, I will wish you, as usually, good morning, good day, and good night, depending on what meridian you are. And I hope that you will follow me to see the next tours that I will have it, because you have no idea what you will lose it if you don't be here. Bye bye to you all. Thank you very much.